We'll be using these retinol cleansing cloths from Global Beauty Care today. And since my husband is out of town, I'll be swatching all of these foundations that I purchased at Dollar Tree. This is basically a Dollar Tree foundation face-off. Okay, that's just so you guys can see it. So that one is Physicians Formula, the Bamboo Wear. Okay, these are the 3 Maybelline products that I have found in my stores. So it's the Maybelline Mineral Power Foundation, the Dream Nude Air Foam, and the Super Stay Silky. Okay, I just dispensed these out onto a piece of cellophane just to make it a little bit easier for me because I'm doing this one-handed. So this first one is the Super Stay Silky that has a primer. They call it a coverage extender over here in white, and then the actual foundation itself. So they're swirled together, as you can see. This big puffy one is the Dream Nude Air Foam, which is air infused. And then this last one is the Mineral Power Foundation. Okay, starting with the Super Stay Silky. Okay, now this is the Dream Nude Air Foam. I'm just taking a teeny bit. That's it, a big gigantic thing. It's not too bad. And then the last one is the Mineral Power Foundation. So the Mineral Power, which is right here, is in the shade Dark 2 Caramel. The Dream Nude Air Foam, right here, this oranger one, is in the shade Light Cocoa. They do have a caramel option, but it wasn't in the store. And then the Super Stay Silky is also in the shade Caramel Dark 2. So it looks like the caramels in this brand do run pretty similar. Okay, from Milani, the first one I'm going to start with is the Smooth Finish Liquid Makeup. Okay, so just by performing this little exercise, I can see that this one is one of the more pigmented ones. So the Milani Smooth Finish Liquid Makeup is pretty pigmented, as are these two. This Air Foam is less pigmented because, as you saw, it took me a couple of coats to build it up to that opacity. And then ditto for the powder from Physicians Formula, which again is meant to be a bronzer, so that's to be expected. Okay, so I'm going to swatch my Secret Cover Concealer. It's not meant to be a foundation, but I do use it that way when I'm on the road. So there you go. And again, that one is in the shade Medium Dark. So as these go, the pigmentation on all of these has been pretty great, with the exception of that Dream Nude. But again, based on the name, you would pretty much assume that it's not meant to be a full coverage foundation. Okay, so that's it for Milani. And this one, this orange one right here, is the Milani Smooth Finish Liquid Makeup. Looks like that. And then this one right here is the Secret Cover Concealer. My Dollar Tree had 2 Revlon products that came in. First is this Revlon Age Defying powder in the shade Deep. It's the second to last shade in the range. The last one is number 30 Translucent, which unfortunately my store didn't get. And then they also had these Revlon Nearly Naked foundations, and this is in the shade 260 Caramel. I have been using this, so one thing to note about this is that the foundation is dispensed just via this big open hole in the top, which is the first of the foundations that I've hauled that has done that. It's not the only one, but it's the first so far. The other ones are either in squeeze tubes or they've had pump tops. Pumps are the ideal for me. Pumps are ideal because they're much less messy. As you see, this has gotten pretty grody, but it's in use and I didn't clean it up for you guys. This powder foundation comes with a brush which I actually have used. I don't use it primarily, but I have used it from time to time. So we'll start with the powder. Now, as I mentioned, this is the deepest shade in the line, and I have ended up using it for highlighting and setting highlights, not for my full face, because unfortunately it's not deep enough. It is a bit closer on the face, but even so, still not a good match. Okay, and here's the foundation. Okay, so that was that, and this is the foundation, which again was in the shade Caramel. So you can see, or you may be able to see, that it's a little bit patchy and streaky, and that's because the coverage isn't full. It's a medium coverage. And it's pretty glossy, but I think you'll see it set over time. Again, this one here is the Revlon Age Defying Press Powder with DNA Advantage in the shade Deep. And then this last one is the Revlon Nearly Naked Foundation in the shade Caramel. Okay, now we've got a CoverGirl makeup, a L'Oreal High Intensity makeup, and a Wet n Wild Beauty Benefits makeup. All of these have the open packaging that I hate, that you kind of have to pour out the product onto the back of your hand, and you can risk dispensing way too much and making a big old mess. So anyway, that's just an FYI about those. Okay, so here are the products that are on the bottom that we're going to be swatching up. The first one is the CoverGirl, the second one is L'Oreal, and the third one is the Wet n Wild. So here's the CoverGirl Clean Makeup. It's in Soft Sable. So you see that one's got more of a neutral tone. Doesn't have so much of that kind of brash oranginess that some of these have. And it did apply a little bit streaky, but nothing crazy, so it's going to be another one of these medium coverage foundations. It's not going to be a super full coverage one, although it is a bit buildable. This is the L'Oreal Hip High Intensity Pigment Foundation, and that's in the shade Sable. Although it appears deeper on the screen, it's actually a pretty good match for me, especially in the warmer weather when my skin is a little bit deeper. There's no streakiness, this has great coverage, and it applies really smoothly. So you may be able to tell this is one of my favorites. Then this one is the Wet n Wild Beauty Benefits Foundation. So this one is a little bit lighter than the last one. This one works a little bit better on my skin tone without having to be kind of tempered. It has been one of my favorites for a really long time. Okay, so those were CoverGirl, L'Oreal, and Wet n Wild. This is CoverGirl here in Soft Sable. L'Oreal, second to the end, and that's in Sable. And then this one is the Wet n Wild Beauty Benefits in the shade Light. So these are our last three, and boy are they different. The Skinny Girl is a tinted moisturizer, so it's not meant to have the same kind of coverage. So keep that in mind as I'm swatching. This one is a skin matching foundation from NYC, and then this one is a Dollar Tree brand, Donna Michelle. Okay, so this is the brush for the Skinny Girl Tinted Moisturizer. I do not apply it with this brush. I just squeeze some through the brush onto my hand and then apply it with a stippling brush, just like I always do with any other product. The NYC foundation has a squeezy top, and then Dollar Tree for the win. Donna Michelle has a pump top. So there it is coming through. I don't know if you can see that. I do not like this brush, but why don't we just apply it anyway so you can see. Now this is a pretty sheer coverage foundation, but the brush makes it even more streaky. So I'm just going to blend it out a little bit with my finger. so you can get an idea of the actual coverage. So there you go. It's streaky and a little patchy, but the coverage is not good. So this is a very light coverage. This is truly a tinted moisturizer. Okay, here's the Skin Matching by NYC. Just gonna let that sit there, and then I'm gonna do, they say when you rub it in, it makes the skin matching magic happen. So let's use our hand. I'm gonna apply it and then rub it in to see what happens. This again is going to be a tinted moisturizer type of coverage, but it did shift to match my complexion a little bit better than I thought it would based on the way this looked here. So I think it's probably still meant for complexions lighter than mine because it looks a little ashy, but I think on fairer skinned women of color, this could be a really nice tinted moisturizer. Although unlike the Skinny Girl foundation, I don't see that this one has any sunscreen. Okay, last up is the Donna Michelle. This is the one I've been the most curious about, so I thought I might as well pump it out on camera to see, you know, what it looks like. That came out beautifully. Okay, that's a pleasant surprise. This looks a little streaky to me as well, so it is likely going to be a light to medium coverage foundation. It's pretty patchy, not just light coverage, so it might take a little maneuvering to get in, and it does have oil, so it's not an oil-free product, so be aware of that. I'm going to let these set for about 5 minutes, and then I will come back to show you what they look like.
Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out my Instagram, Glossary of Tags.